Hey everybody, welcome to Technically Broken. You're looking at episode 2 here. It's just the boys back again. We're gonna be basically going over more stuff in depth, kind of explaining how our lives got to this point, even more so than we did last time because we touched on a lot of subjects. But yeah, we got some stuff to talk about, guys. We're gonna get into like a format, and we're just gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk about stuff we hate, right? Like I
Yeah,
think
for
it's gonna
sure.
be it's just gonna
Yeah,
be
man.
we're repairmen. We're fixing. Well, we're technicians. We're repair guys. Whatever. But we fix cars. So you know what? It can become hell some days and glory others. So yeah, guys. So basically, yeah, I'm gonna introduce Caleb. Caleb.
Once again, I'm Caleb. Pretty much anything, any social format, you'll see me as Caleb underscore the hunted underscore. I mean, Instagrams, the Facebooks, Twitch, YouTube. That's pretty much what it is for me.
Right on. And producer, show's producer, and part co-host, right? So you're doing it a little bit of a multi-role thing. And yeah, man, thanks for helping us out. And we're going to get your side of probably an amateur deal, you know,
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
talk on today. So right on to Chris. Chris,
I'm
man, how you
Chris,
doing?
also Botar, and last time I screwed up a little bit and was like, I don't have social media, but I do. My Instagram is at Botar, B0TAR, and my graphic design spiel is at Botar Designs. That's normal, BOTAR Designs. And yeah, I do graphic design on the side, so that's my little plug.
And work on, yeah, there's you get a little.
And
You
I
get
work
the
on
plug in.
I work on cars as a hobby, and I do that stuff for work. So
Yeah.
that's me.
Work is work, and then work is a hobby.
Yeah,
Work is work
it's
just
all
never
work.
ends.
It's
Yeah,
work.
everything's work. Even when you're having fun, it's all work until you can just crack that one simple smile and you're like, this sucked all the way to this point.
Yeah.
Dude, right on, guys. So thanks for introducing. I am still Mario. I'm Whole-Baked Cookie, and I'm on YouTube. All these links will be posted down below, around anywhere. Check it out. I don't know where you guys, what camera I have it on, right? Yeah, but
up
we'll
there,
put them.
down
Yeah, we'll put them down. And thank you guys for listening. So basically, let's just get into it. As we've said before, we've kind of gone over it. I am more like the professional side. I did go to school. I did a bunch of stuff. I have done, and we're going to talk about all that. But let's just quickly jump to you guys and be like, you guys are amateurs, but you guys fix stuff,
Yeah,
right? Like, yeah, I mean, we're going to probably talk about some house stuff, house repairs and car repairs, and like, we're going to touch it all. But you guys know the amateur side, right? Like, you
Yeah.
guys touch a screwdriver.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
always.
Yeah.
I'm
What's
always
a
touching
screwdriver?
screwdrivers.
Yeah.
I'm touching wrenches and touching stuff and ratchets and
Touching
stuff.
all this goofy shit that I don't
don't-
even know. A Knitzer valve.
Yeah.
Can't forget the Knitzer valve, man.
Yeah. You need one, actually, to go 88 miles an hour to then travel back through. No, I don't know. I'm gonna
No,
shut-
man, that's the.
What
There's
was that?
you-
God, now I've got to think about it. What was that thing?
It's a movie. Come on,
I
Christopher
know what the
Lloyd,
movie is.
Crazy.
I know what the movie is. I'm trying to think of the thing, the triangle that he has to power.
Oh, 1.3 gigawatts.
Why are we all drawing blanks on this right
Well,
now?
yeah,
think
on
of
the
it.
Back to the Future.
Oh,
line.
no.
No,
We're
it's,
stupid.
Flux combobulator or
Oh
something.
yeah,
Yeah, we should
the
know.
flux capacitor.
Yeah.
Flux
there we go.
capacitor, Yeah,
We're
wow.
stupid.
Well, we had a really good.
Oh, no.
But that's a car. Who knows how long you had to repair that? He probably had to go back to the future to fix that goddamn car.
No worries.
It was probably a pain.
My question is, why a DeLorean? Of all cars you could have chose,
Well, it was futuristic
cool.
back
It's pretty-
then. It was
it
kind
was
of
cool,
cool.
but I mean, come on, you could have chose.
Didn't
any
that guy
Any
used to
other
work
cool,
for
like a
Ferrari?
Pantera. The guy who made the DeLorean?
Yeah, didn't he work for, or was it Ford he worked for?
No idea. He
was a car
big in-
designer.
Yeah, car
He was a
stuff.
huge car designer.
I just know the story afterwards with the big drug bust and all that.
yeah.
Like the
terrible.
design stuff and making your own car. That's got to be crazy for that guy.
They're
and
bringing
he went
it
with
back.
he went with the GM platform, right? It had 3800 in it, so it should have been reliable. And I guess it was a piece of shit.
They're bringing it back.
They're bringing the DeLorean. They
bringing the
say it like
DeLorean
every
back.
2
with the little
years.
slide window.
No, it's gonna be. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
electric. It's the DeLorean. It's the DeLorean 2.0 or something like that.
Oh, that
It's-
would be
Oh
kind
my
of.
God.
It's all electric. It looks fucking ass.
Well, let's not try to fix those anytime soon. So, yeah. Anyways, getting back on topic of kind of explaining everything of the amateur side to the professional. I'm just gonna delve a little bit into what I've done and the things I've experienced, and I'll get your guys' take on it because you guys have seen me pretty much do it all probably through the years ever since high school. And that's basically where it started for me. I was like 14, working in a little repair shop, a little lawnmower shop.
For Chuck.
Yeah, for Chuck, for Simmons lawnmower repair. And I learned basically the basics. Yeah, that was the ground floor. That was a framework for wanting to get into fixing stuff and learning how to be a technician or repair guy or whatever you want to call it, a mechanic for our world. But after that, took that through high school basically, and then I did bounce around. You got to have like a fast food job in there. That's irrelevant. But going to school then at Universal Technical Institute, UTI, not urinary tract infection school, but that's like the big easy joke. So I went to UTI here in the Chicagoland area before they moved to the new campus. I trained a lot, learned a lot there. I was working as a Goodyear guy, like I was an oil slinger. We all use air quotes as we do a job, but we all probably do more than that job. Like you might be a 3D artist, but you're probably going to be doing
all kinds of other shit.
All kinds of other stuff you don't want to do. So in my world then at school, I was doing basic repairs and oil changes, a lot of tires, obviously being at a Goodyear. I worked on a lot of cop cars back then. They only ran Goodyear RSA tires, so if they even had a single nail in them, tires would have to go. So I learned how to road force, do a bunch of stuff, balance, obviously all that, change oil on a lot of stuff. Got my hands burned by GM 3.5s with the goofy oil filters up front. Some of you guys probably understand that. Or had to drop a ton of oil on like, what do they call it, like undercarriage, like a dust shield on the bottom of an engine on a Dodge Dart, because the Dodge Darts had the goofiest, longest, I don't know, dust shield. But if oil didn't get on it, I think you were luckier than most, because those things were terrible. So anyways, I dealt with a bunch of weird, goofy stuff like that. You guys probably saw, I was like school.
Yeah.
I maybe only hung out with you guys to...
You were over like most of the time when you were at the Chicago campus.
Yeah.
Because you were living up in the city, and we would go back and forth a lot. We were working on shit.
Yeah, I think it was just a crazy hectic time. Anytime anybody goes
So
to school
busy.
and work, right?
Because I think I was in college, and you were doing the UTI thing, or you were doing the UTI thing before I went to college, I think. Either way,
probably a little bit before,
but
maybe. I think around the same time. So
I think it's around the time that I also started tinkering with cars too.
yeah, well, you had just gotten rid of the Ford, right? The Destroyer, the first Destroyer.
First Destroyer, yeah.
Which was the Grand Marquis.
89 Grand Marquis. That thing was, I used to call it the Destroyer. I also called it the Schlagschiff because I had German friends in college, and they're like, "This looks like Hitler's car, man." I'm like, oh my god,
It was
that's a
a
little
square body.
wow.
I don't think it's a convertible, but
So,
hey,
but
you know what?
yeah,
You're
dude.
German, so
yeah, it's fucking.
or whoever you might be. But anyways, so yeah, you guys saw that, and then I started working on your stuff. You had like the Neon at that time, and we were doing oil changes and
Blew two clutches.
two clutches. Yeah, I destroyed a clutch in that Neon.
I destroyed one.
Yeah, you destroyed one.
Shifting into first.
Yeah,
I got a stop sign.
Yeah, I got lucky and actually didn't even have to do any of those. The first one went to the dealer because it was some kind of... Your mom got it on some kind of warranty deal because it should have lasted longer or something.
Yeah.
Obviously abuse or something. I think she just yelled at him long enough to get it.
She had a way with them.
Yeah.
I remember she got that car back and she took it out of the parking lot and pulled it right back in. Was like, this thing does not work. And they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. She's like, get it and drive. And you couldn't shift it into second.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or third. You have to
terrible.
jam it. It's like they put the old clutch right back into the car.
Damn.
They just did not work.
Yeah, I remember that first one. Yeah, that one was bad.
7 months, 8 months we had to wait to get that car back.
Really?
It was a long time. I don't get
Wow.
what the deal was with it.
That's
I just remember
terrible.
the night I was driving and then the clutch sank to the floor and I was freaking out. And I managed to just slip shift it home. That was kind of like the first night I learned about slip shifting and then figured it out later. But for those of you who may not know, slip shifting can be when you don't use a clutch. So you just let your RPMs drop. Truckers would know this. Mm-hmm. If you're going from like first to second, you just don't use a clutch. You just get off the gas and hold tension up on your gear, and it'll just slide into gear.
There's that sweet spot between
It's like you rev
RPMs.
match. It's basically a rev match for like transmission to engine rolling speed.
That's a very common way to shift a semi.
Yeah.
Besides a double clutch for a semi, but generally speaking,
Yeah, if you
most-
double clutch in a semi,
they say that's the best way to do it because that won't tear up the transmission. But
if you slip shift properly, you won't tear anything up.
No.
Like things have synchros and things line up for. There's a reason you hear sometimes, and then a reason that you just keep moving. It flows, you know.
Right, and generally what falls apart first is that that clutch plate.
Yeah.
Because you're holding your clutch in
Friction
while you're
plate,
moving.
yeah. Your friction plate, the stuff between the metal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that thing explodes, and then you have like carbon resin or whatever it's made, Kevlar and compact. It's like a circular brake pad if you kind of think about it.
And that's generally so if you're in a semi and when you go to put your clutch in when at a stop and you go to put it in gear and you'll hear that, it's because you fucking destroyed your clutch plate.
Yeah, it's probably you need a. They also have clutch brakes to slow down clutches to get it in there sooner and faster, or stop the rolling mass of the clutch faster to get in. But like clutch brakes, I mean, I've seen truckers abuse the hell out of them. So they sometimes last, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're just praying on, just lasting another, last another 10,000 miles because whatever. But yeah, so that was the schooling and stuff, and yeah, dragged you guys with me. We all kind of carried each other. I mean, it was kind of why we're still kind of fixing stuff together and why we're still working on stuff together.
It was definitely interesting to learn, like, because you would come over with like your textbooks or whatever, your notes or your printouts, and you're like, dude, I'm trying to figure out this stupid little combustion ratio and blah blah blah, and like trying to figure shit out between like the difference between small engines and the like actual like engines, like seeing that stuff. Like I still to this day do not understand like mechanical diagrams because they're like all blown apart and sometimes they're like little boxes and nobody does them uniformly and they're like this line goes to this is your fuel line. No man, that's a zigzag. What? I don't get it. So like diagrams I don't get, and you were just like, yeah, this makes sense to me, and I'm like, how?
I guess I do. Yeah, it's funny. I have kept all my notes, all my books from school. I don't go back to them very often, but sometimes I will pick them up, and I'm like, huh, I did learn this stuff. Yeah, it's got to feel like hieroglyphics. Like you're trying to read, if you only speak English and you're trying to read Spanish, it cannot be easy trying to figure out like, wiring diagrams or even like hydraulic diagrams. They're just as confusing or more because there's just more things that like motors and gear drives and differential valves, and that's all even more confusing than electrical, I'd say sometimes.
It's like musical notes. It's like notes versus tabs. Like tabs are for everybody. Everyone can read tabs, but musical notes, people are like, I don't. It's like Greek,
the professional
man.
Has
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I'm lost when it comes to the musical world. I have no idea, dude.
Yeah, the music, no. But you can we can at least all understand like how to set up a VCR. Well, nobody's setting up a VCR, but like how to set up, say, the microphone. Like
VCR. You're aging us.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm just ousted us. Like, wait, I've got no facial hair in this episode.
Dang.
Anyway, so all that through school, made it through school, graduated here, went to Arizona for more training, finished and did a bunch of stuff with Cummins and power generation. So I didn't see these guys for a couple months. I was gone for like half a year, but got more certificates and a degree. And then I came back and I kind of didn't know what was going on. I thought I was going to take a big contract with an oil driller, and that didn't pan out. And like family situation didn't function, or it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do in the end. So I stayed around here, and then I got into basically multiple fleet jobs for diesel trucks, highway trucks. We're talking big Volvos, D13s, D14s. Anything, Mercedes-Benz engines too, so Detroit stuff, Detroit 60s, 66, Cat, a lot of Cat, C15 to C13. But fleets with internationals and freight shakers, freight liners. And I did that for a couple years until I did go to a dealership. And then, I was a dealership guy at Chrysler Jeep Dodge for a while, and I was basically under journeyman, figuring stuff out. I was the only guy to basically touch Vipers at the time because nobody else wanted to mess with them. It's kind of obviously being a performance vehicle, they're cool, but like they're hot as hell. They just retain a lot of heat and they're low to the ground. And a lot of old guys want to get a sports car and get it dirty. So I was just like a younger kid that kind of wanted to do it. I got to drive a lot of cool stuff at the dealership, saw a lot of cool people, dealt and fixed a lot of weird stuff. Got more training through them, went through Chrysler Academy or whatever for, I don't know.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was probably going back and forth. So, well, you guys probably saw me
hitting the core memories now, man.
Yeah, like those days go back. I get over 30. I've been doing this over 15 years, and that's crazy to think about.
How much time has gone?
Yeah, how much time? Yeah. I may not look like it. I bet people will judge the shit out of me. They're like, this kid doesn't know. I'll fix some shit. I'll win trophies.
Don't bitch about it.
Yeah, I'll bitch about it the whole way. But I'll fix the shit out of some stuff, man. I don't give a fuck. And I'm gonna win trophies. I'm also very big into racing. This comes in the future. I'm just gonna finish up my schooling stuff, and we'll talk about me later. But I feel like people wanted to know if you guys are interested or want to know more about what I'm doing, that was basically it. I was a dealership guy, and then I basically transitioned into racing after I left the dealership, and then was a truck guy for another little while. And I transitioned into the racing because that's like passion, like it's where the heart lays kind of deal. And I'll tell you guys more story about that. But I do a lot of racing now, so we'll probably touch on that later. It's not too critical because we're just talking about general repairs at the moment. When we get into other crazy topics of racing, and we have a couple guests on here that probably pretty experienced guys that have seen and done a lot of stuff. It'll be interesting to get their take on it. But for right now, that was basically the professional side, going through school, figuring stuff out when I was little, and now doing it for 10 plus years, 15 plus years. And yeah, you guys as amateurs. So I do want to touch on that. So where I don't know where to begin. I think it's intimidating the first time you guys, like when you first got your Grand Marquis or whatever, first time you changed your oil, like maybe on the Neon or something. I don't know if we were doing something like that.
I don't know if we
but
ever actually had to do it for the Neon. I think the time I started,
or the truck. Or we do no, the truck she took it to the dealership.
First time I ever changed oil was on the Grand Marquis. Yeah, for sure. I changed not knowing anything going into like that. It's like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do it. It's terrible. It's terrifying, I guess, a little bit for like amateur people, like amateurs in general. Like the first time you do anything, it's kind of scary because you don't know if you're gonna fucking break something. Because like you think about it from like just a layman's perspective, like a car is like, it's like a 3,000 pound missile, like if you don't do it right, like you're putting your life and other people's lives in danger. Like if you don't change your oil right, or you don't put enough oil in there, you lock your engine up on the highway. What are you going to do? You're going
figure
80,
it out.
you got to figure it out. Right. So like the first time I changed the oil was on my 89 Grand Marquis, the Destroyer. Love that car. Miss that car to this day.
Well, we'll talk a lot about it.
But yeah, so changing oil. And then after that's like what really got me into it. My background is like I've been around mechanics like my whole life. My mom was married to a mechanic for 15 years and I grew up around it and did all that stuff. And then you were into it, hung out with you. I had other friends that are into like fixing shit and stuff like that. And like when I was younger, I didn't really have interest into it. But as I got older, I started seeing it and like doing it. And then I did it with the Grand Marquis and I started changing my oil. We did my brakes, did a other couple mechanical things here and there. I think I replaced the radiator on that thing too. And I replaced
we put an alternator on?
We put an alternator on it. We did the power brake booster. We did all kinds of shit on that car. And I think we even replaced master cylinder and some other things too.
Yeah, we were doing brakes. I feel like we did that.
I ended up buying a power steering like pump for it and I never put it in. It sat in the trunk. But like, I've been doing that. And then after that car, I had a 94 Jeep Wrangler that I was tinkering with every now and then.
Oh, it was a stick shift. That was a 5-speed.
It was 5-speed.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
they kind of rotted apart, though.
No, it was falling apart. Basically, the floor was carpet. I think we touched on that a little bit the last episode, but that thing was a fucking. We just used to throw bottles out of the rust holes, fucking kid shit, But
don't step too hard. That's like a Ranger, dude. That was like your Ranger.
That thing had a shitty fuse box that I ended up paying like way too much to get fixed, and then. Eventually, it just kind of sat because I got to drive my grandpa's car. It was a 2010 Ford Edge. And we did work on that thing too. We did the brakes on that. We did a couple wheel bearings on that thing. We did power steering hose or whatever. And just the drive from that was like, you know what? I can do this. I can fix shit. And that kind of got me into fixing like all kinds of things when it came to like cars and other things. I fixed one of my mom's lawnmowers one time just on a whim. I was like, took it apart. I'm like, I can do that. And I fixed it. And then years later, it's kind of my history is a little splotchier because I didn't got no formal training. My training is YouTube University. And, it works, and I got a 79 Chevy Caprice. And you helped me initially, because we did the brakes on that thing, replaced a couple calipers, rotors, pads, all that shit. And then... I ended up replacing the radiator, power brake booster, master cylinder on all that stuff. And then I drove it for a few weeks actually. And it was relatively reliable until it wasn't.
Yeah.
And
problem with an old car.
I fixed everything that was because we were concerned that it wasn't even going to move, but Like, I ended up getting it moving and driving, got new tires for it, got all that stuff for it, and then the carburetor blew and it's been sitting for like 7 years. But that's still working on it passively, actively, whatever.
We got it running though. We got
it running.
Check out the short. I'll probably link
We
that down below.
gotta rebuild that carburetor.
Yeah, we gotta.
And then
man.
now I got my Ford Focus that I did the brakes on a couple years ago, still running strong. Yeah, it's just tinkering and learning every time I go, and it's cool,
Can always hopefully call somebody for help.
I think 90% of my mechanic ability is bitching about it and then calling you when I fuck something up.
Hey,
no,
dude,
Mario, I can't do it.
I'm like, get out of the way. You'll fucking be fine.
And now I got an '08 P71 Crown Victoria, and that thing's fucking amazing. I love that car.
Technical number. That's
Love
funny though.
it.
It's a cool car. Crown Vic's a cool car.
Love it.
So yeah, man, that's the amateur. You're shy. You're shy to get into
sure.
it. You only want to change
Gotta
your
psych
oil.
myself up every time.
You're like, but I don't got like $40 or whatever they're charging me.
Right. Well, like 90. I think a lot of people get into amateur because you want to avoid the shop costs at all, like the labor. Yeah. Like paying for parts is one thing, but can you justify the labor? I guess.
What about you, Caleb? Same thing, kind of like. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I feel like because you and I
didn't really
obviously
get too much into. Like, I mean, I kind of helped you tinker with stuff like high school.
Yeah.
I didn't really get too much into.
Remember, like, you helped me. Didn't you see me zip tie the carburetor? Yeah. So like, you helped me. You at least handed me zip ties, and we're there to like.
Like I helped tinker with that during high school. I was more towards the computer technical side. I did take a couple of years of computer tech, and go that way, and then it just didn't pan out that way.
But you like, I
still do it. Yeah, I mean, I've built 3-4 computers now. And,
and they all run strong.
They're all pretty good. I mean,
we diagnose a problem. Sometimes when you figure out, you're like, it's not booting.
Right.
So
when I first got into actual like mechanics and stuff like that was when I actually bought my first car, which was a Lincoln, the '94, the boat, the land yacht. That thing was awesome.
Was that a town car?
Yeah,
I think it was
a town car. And I mean, I was a kid with it, and I was just, keep it or junk it sort of thing. I ended up junking it because it wasn't worth it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that.
But I didn't really get hard into it until my last job, working with the farmer, where you had to be hands-on. You had to fix anything that broke, anything and everything. From a part on a tractor to a piece of implement, a truck, a semi. I mean, any little thing. You're up under it in the mud trying to fix it.
Yeah, farm work's not easy, man. And so you probably, that was kind of like trial by fire. Like farmer just wants it done, right? And he's like, get your ass out. And I'm like,
figure it out.
Dude, this thing costs like $1 million. I'm not going to fucking break it. And he's like, and then he gets mad at you when you don't fix it right. Or like,
it just doesn't, like, it was funny too, because like you would break it and he would lose his absolute mind. And it was something little, non-catastrophic, nothing was wrong. And he would severely break some shit and just be like, fix it. It's like, oh my God.
It's okay when you do it. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It's his things. He can break them. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, what the hell, man? You just created so much work.
Yeah. You didn't knock a blinker off. You, destroyed, the fuel filter or something that's in the tank.
So, one instance of that, his son and a combine, so the big-ass machine behind us, it was a relatively brand new one. His son had the head up off the ground and was trying to go through a steep embankment. Well, he didn't judge how far the head would drop.
The clearance, he didn't.
The clearance of the head in the feeder house.
Okay.
When the front tires dropped in.
Oh, no.
So it sunk into the ditch, and then it smashed the head.
He put his front tires in, and it slapped the header, the feeder house into the ground, and snapped both pistons on the feeder house, and it just slammed to the ground.
Yeah, it just fell then, right?
And
Nothing's holding it up.
A couple 1,000-pound head. Just slammed on the ground.
And it's in the middle of a ditch?
Yeah, it's just in a ditch, and he can't move it. And he lost his shit, and we were just like, why are you yelling at us? We didn't break it. Your son did.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, that's at least a day of fixing that, because now you need the crane out there on the back of the truck to lift it, and it's like, every time you had a John Deere tech out there, he's like, get with them and help them. So you're tinkering with the tech, and it's like, okay, what are we doing? How are we doing this? It could be anything from a wheel bearing to you're taking a whole implement apart to just replace one hydraulic
seal, one coupling linkage.
But you have to take everything apart to get to it, and those guys don't get enough credit for what they do. They do a lot and it's just
Yeah.
holy cow.
Yeah, it's a tough job fixing shit, keeping shit running. Yeah, man, for you, it sounds like real trial for this last job. Like, aside from doing and building computers, and because you kind of always like were into techie stuff, and you did your own, whatever, like computer, I guess, programming. Some stuff could be programming, but point is, you were in that world, but not until you probably got with the farmer that you got into this like industrial,
Yeah.
automotive
Absolutely.
stuff, and that's got to not be easy. Like Bodar said, it was probably like you're gonna be shy. You're not gonna want to get in
Yeah.
there. You're like, this thing has, just looking at this combine, you're like, this thing has like, I see 8 bolts we got to take off just to maybe pretend that we can like move a panel to look in here real quick. And that's 8 bolts that you can see on the outside. Who knows what's on the inside holding that thing? And then when you gotta, like you said, go in there and fix a tiny rubber seal that could not be bigger than your pinky nail, you're like, this is outlandish.
Or like, here's another like example of that. Like, the farmer, it was supposed to rain, and he didn't end up closing the hopper up top, and he still had beans. I think? No, corn.
Oh, they got
he had
wet.
corn.
It turns into clay, right, or something?
It turns into concrete.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Stinky
he had
concrete,
a
right?
yeah.
Stinky concrete?
Well, beans are worse than corn when it comes to how it stinks, because beans ferment, and that's
Yeah.
like soy, anything.
Remember, I know that smell.
It's just
that smell is god awful.
It's awful. But the corn turned into concrete, and so he snapped all of the chains that run the augers inside the combine to put
Trying to
out
get it going.
to put it out
Yeah,
the tube.
trying to get it out.
So we literally they started like noon, and they didn't get it done until about 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Jeez.
And then literally guys out there with big pipe wrenches and just those monster like regular wrenches, just
Trying to
manhandling these
that,
pulleys to try and move concrete
Wow.
through a
to
pulley.
chip that shit out.
And then finally, you don't know how how good it felt to finally get that.
get it running, like get it
to
running.
move.
Yeah, right.
And then there's just a huge pile of wet corn just sitting on the ground.
You
But,
still have to shovel up or bulldoze out of
yeah,
the way.
it's just like, holy cow. These guys are just struggle busting on this, and it's just
yeah.
that's some shit you got to deal with. Like,
Some stuff.
you
There's
got
some
shitty situations, some shitty locations, areas that just.
there's some stuff that's gonna have 6 timing chains, and you're gonna ask God why? Why put so many? And then I have a big saying too. I'm gonna have all these little sayings dropped and sprinkled in here, but I don't blame engineers anymore. I've met a lot of cool engineers, and I kind of appreciate the things and the things they want to accomplish and get done. I like to blame accountants because it's always an accountant telling an engineer that he can't make that an accessible hole because drilling that hole takes 2 more seconds in the assembly line and it costs us 3 more cents. So when you see and hear bad situations of bad parts or something, I do like to blame. There are sometimes I blame accountants, but there are sometimes you'll blame an engineer. But more than often, I'd say I blame the accountant for forcing the engineer to do a shitty job because they wanted to usually do a good
Here's
job.
a good example of that. A starter on a 32 valve Cadillac.
Oh yeah, the North Star. It's in the valley.
You have to take the heads off to get
Oh,
to
not the heads, the intake manifold.
You have to take it off.
The top, yeah, the
The
top.
top end is off that motor to get to the starter.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
North
dumbest
Star
thing.
engine, yeah, 32 valve. So the intake manifold has to come off. I think I've done a couple of them, but
I remember
like
Jack worked on his, and the whole top end of that motor was apart.
I don't think the heads need to come out. Maybe just do head gaskets since you're halfway there, maybe. But
Oh my God.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten.
Why would you put it there?
Yeah, maybe like,
That
guys
accountant was like, "Nope, do with what you
ran
got."
out. Yeah, ran out of room outside in the engine bay. There was too big of a battery. They didn't want to get rid of. Who knows? But I blame an accountant for that. He'd be like, "No, you don't need to put you don't need to put that out there. Put it in here. What's all this space? It's doing nothing." And then the guy's like, "But you don't like. There's a lot of heat in there, and that thing doesn't really heat up. It's not supposed to. Like starters aren't supposed to." I can imagine this bickering back and forth every time a bad engineering. You're like, why the fuck is this bolt here? I don't understand why this is.
Toyota's right, the bolt behind the exhaust pipe that's like this far from it. It's like,
Yeah.
Toyota, why did you do this?
Yeah, why would you put that oil filter? Well, sometimes they're forced to. So dealing with that stuff as an amateur probably is way worse. I would say I was shy in the beginning. I going to school and getting my first like oil slinger job and all that. I was like, using a lift for the first time is intimidating. Using a lift and putting a big truck up, you're like, oh, no, please don't. Like, and now I could not care if a 80,000 pound forklift that picks up 120,000 pound like tanks or whatever would be just jacked up a quarter inch by like the weakest little corner jack that's, you know, for your spare tire to save you.
Little scissor
I'd be
jack.
like, whatever, I'm just getting under there. It is definitely intimidating and hard to transition from this mindset of like, I just got to get it done. I need to. And I think we all take our time learning that, or at least getting more comfortable with it. Because now we're pretty, right? We're going to do our own oil if we got time or whatever. Well, I don't know about you guys, but like I do all my own stuff. So like it doesn't matter. But now if it's cheaper for you to do your own oil, you do your own oil, right?
I do my own oil, yeah.
It's kind of comparable now, though.
Yeah, you found a guy or a good place. And like if I don't have time, right, you're going to him. So
It's like you buy a 5-quart thing and a 6-quart.
Yeah.
Dang, you're almost spending $50-$60 now.
Yeah.
It's expensive. It's like $45 for like a 5-quart.
I remember when oil was like $26 for everything.
Yeah.
Like
for
with
everything.
filter.
Pennzoil sometimes, so I have a Pennzoil cord here. We're not sponsored. But I used to use their stuff, and it was always $18.99 or something at Walmart for the jug.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get your filter, your Fram, not the basic one, never the basic one, at least the silver. But yeah, $26, $25, and
Now it's like triple.
yeah, and like so I don't know, but like for you like you take it to a guy, he's got to be reasonable, right? 30 some bucks, maybe 40.
I think the most I pay for an oil change is like just below 70.
You know what?
But
it takes 7 quarts. It takes 7 quarts. It's a Hemi. So
Yeah, 6 and 5, around 6.
yeah, I forgot that total. I worked at the dealership. I should know.
I used to pay $45 for an oil change. Now I pay like 30 when I do it myself. So
Feels
like
a little
$15 is better.
It is easy and nice to roll in and just sit there though. If
Yeah,
it's like a
for
Jiffy
sure.
Lube, you know, it feels nice. To
Yeah,
just
the
like,
Take 5 is actually pretty convenient. You just roll in and roll out.
the Take
you know?
5. They sponsor Joey Logano or something.
Do they? Yeah.
I think they sponsor a NASCAR car. It's one of them for a couple races. But yeah, intimidation. And for anybody starting out, or if any of you guys have stories about them, just put them down below if you guys care to share. You know, I'd love to read any comments of like, oh, crazy stories at the beginning and then getting over it, or anybody who's kind of nervous or getting into it. You guys maybe, listening, hearing us, watching us, just do it. Just get out there and at least try it. Because if it's already broken, you can't break it anymore. Well, some shit.
Well,
But, say you got like you're trying to bring an engine back to life from the junkyard. Just get in there. Just go do it,
yeah. What's the worst that could
Yeah,
happen?
right.
You break it more. Oh well.
Yeah.
Get another one.
I mean, that's a really interesting thing. I never did ask you guys. I don't think I've ever asked you, like, was it fucked up? Like, was it hard to do it? And you guys are like, it was. I guess I felt the same way a little bit. But I'm so much more relaxed, I think.
What do you think the hardest thing you've ever done was? Like the hardest thing like you fixed on your own that you've had to do?
Hardest thing I fixed on my own?
The most difficult thing for me, and this will probably sound trivial for you, and that's fine, but the most difficult thing that I ever did on my own was my focus brakes, because I was highly unprepared.
Didn't see what? Yeah,
No, I
not
didn't.
expect.
I didn't check into anything before I took that thing apart. It was apart in pieces in my parking lot of my apartment, and I realized way too late that I did not have everything that I needed.
And now you're just sitting
and
there.
now I'm just sitting there with a car that I cannot drive. I can't tell you that the thought crossed my mind. Well, if I put the wheel back on and just kind of hang the caliper up there, I could drive this job. I could do it. No, you can't do that.
You can't.
And
Yeah.
Right out.
I did not have the brake compressor tool for the rear brakes, and
Those that spin, right?
I asked my neighbor twice for a ride to the nearest shop, which is like 6 miles away, twice, and that was super embarrassing the first time, even more embarrassing the second time. And I finally got the tool that I needed, and I got it all on there, and then I dropped my car. And I
Wasn't
didn't.
it a jack failure?
It was a jack stand failure, and it was
That's
a bunch. It was a
scary.
perfect circumstance where the jack stand was like my parking lot's on like a sort of an incline, and the jack stand was underneath the part where it was supposed to be, and the car shifted just enough to where it kicked the jack stand and buckled it, and the thing almost came down on my leg. It was a whole thing. And then
That's scary.
I had to call.
I wasn't there.
And luckily, like the car was fine. I had to call a buddy and get the jacket up. He's bitching to me the entire time. He's like, "You fucking idiot! Why didn't you just call me in the first place?" And I'm like, "I wanted to do it on my own." And,
Yeah, that's how you act. That's how you think it's gonna go.
And I was so mad, and like it took, like I said, it should have been like a 2-hour job, and it ended up being like a 6-7 hour job, and shit was broke. Well, luckily nothing was broken, you know. And I did break the tool that I rented from the tool store, but we're not going to talk about it.
We're going to return that.
I returned it. I got my money back, and we're good. You know, whatever. Shit happens. And I learned a lesson.
Instance of that happening.
Yeah.
And we were working on Chewy's truck. His the red Silverado he had, the 1500.
With the cap?
Yep.
Yeah.
We were doing it in my driveway when I lived in Dwight there.
Okay.
And you remember how steep?
It was a little, I don't think it was steep, but it was an incline.
It was an incline for sure.
Yeah.
And we were doing it, and I was sitting, crisscross applesauce right there by the tire because
hanging
I can't remember
out,
if we were doing
doing
brakes or if we were doing something. Oh, the tire was flat, and I think we said, "Fuck it, we're gonna work on it." And the jack gave out as we were sitting there, and it just, boom, and it just dropped straight on the already fucked tire.
Damn.
And my foot, literally, it was just right next to my foot, and I'm just, oh my god.
You shit your pants, dude. You're shitting.
We had
pants,
to jack
dude.
them like a thing
Change
back
your
up, and like
underwear.
I don't remember if we put it back on the road or what we did, but that shit was scary. I mean,
Dude,
you having some shit fall. I mean,
Yeah, all right. I got a quick one because this one was probably one of my worst. I still think about it. And before we get into the next subject here, I was at Goodyear, and it was probably second month I was working. It was pretty like when I was new to the oil slinging and Goodyear tire stuff. But I had a GM 2500 van, big, like a panel van, like that, like plumbers use and stuff. So it's a big ass van, but like the chassis on the back of it kind of has a notch where you're supposed to put the lift that like has a post stand on it. But I missed it, and I got like this flange that kind of runs and protects cables and other stuff. So like I caught that very lip with the lift stand, the post, and it started going up. And then I like looked up as I started working because I started with the oil change, and the thing is like teetering, and I freaked out and I pushed it, and the whole arm shook and moved the van. And at that very moment, I freaked out, and I didn't know because like the van was teetering, and that post I saw it wasn't whatever. And at that perfect moment, one of my coworkers was like right there, and we had a trans jack, a big tall trans jack that like, and he jammed it like just in the suspension or in the rear, like on the drive axle. I don't even know. Yeah, it was on the axle or something in the rear, and it kept it up. It did fall like, I don't know, 2 inches. You couldn't put the arm back in.
Wow.
So he had to hold it there with like the trans jack, and he's like, lower the lift, because then we could like readjust everything.
Yeah.
Like, so the thing was like this, and then it came back down a little bit. And that one was I still think about it because that was a big van, and I didn't know. And then, I get my ass chewed out a little bit, right? Like, you're almost destroying a ton of shit.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, in that very instance, they were also like, well, also it's kind of messed up that they put this, looks like a big steel metal guard around the whatever lines, and it wasn't. It looks like it's supposed to be heavier duty, it's supposed to hold something, but it doesn't. And I think about like, anytime I could drop a car. I have a really funny one about a race story, but I'll tell that one later about dropping a car. But guys, be careful if you're ever using jack, hydraulic, anything. Put jack stands under it, for God's sake, please. Be safe. Put 2 jacks under it. If you take a tire off and you're doing brakes and you're kind of uneasy, like we've all kind of been, throw your tire underneath the car. It'll save your head,
Remember, if you don't put the pin in, you can't sue.
Yeah, Harbor Free jack stands. Remember, guys, if you don't put the pin in, you can't sue. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So
Prove it.
So, yeah, man, from professional to amateur level of feeling and how to tackle stuff. And that could go with anything. We'll talk about a little repair you had to do here in the week. But let's go down to our next subject. And I love this is gonna try trigger somebody or maybe make somebody smile. I don't know. We're gonna talk about tools. Tools in the big debate. Is it worth like the truck? Do we get on Snap-on? I had a Snap-on hoodie. It's funny. I took it off because I figured I was gonna get judged for it by somebody. But I had a Snap-on, Mac Go, Cornwell, all the brand name, like the big stuff. versus your Chinesium, Hobo Freights. Some people would throw old Craftsman in it. So tools.
Do you think? I think professionals are snobs. Just I'm gonna say it. You're a snob, dude. We gotta have my good tools. But then,
I guess it depends because like old Craftsman tools were awesome.
yeah, but
I do like it.
define old Craftsman. Was that like when they were still Sears exclusive?
Yeah,
Yes.
probably like a CSU.
Yeah, that's when I thought tools were
I
really,
don't-
really good.
I
and they
really
were
like-
cheaper.
I don't think that it matters to an extent. I think that it does, but I really don't like. Over on the whole, I don't think it matters. If the tool gets the job done, then it's already worth the money you paid for it. You know.
Right. So I'm torn between that.
Unless it's Ryobi, because fuck Ryobi.
That's right. What are you, a home doer at the Home Depot?
And
No.
then I guess it depends. Too,
I lose-
also, when you come through. It's like because now you have two different sets of tools where it'll be industrial size tool like industrial tools or do-it-yourself home tools.
Home
Because I know
jobber.
like Milwaukee has that brand, DeWalt has that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like a lot of things have like just do it yourself for home renovations.
But those are professional tools now. A Milwaukee, a DeWalt. I mean,
Well,
a Rigid, I guess. Like they're all considered professional, but like
But they have their own brand of like what is it?
Extreme
Flex.
or like
the
yeah,
Flex,
Flex,
is more of
20-volt stuff. Yeah,
I think
like,
that's more of like the mechanic side, like
Yeah.
the actual like heavy duty where you have
Professional.
like the regular normal where it's just around the house kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
sort of thing.
I mean, I get it. I saw a video the other day. A guy goes, look, I got my new impact socket, and he just spray painted a regular socket black.
Oh my god, no!
Hey man, we were all guilty of it. We've
man.
all used the chromie on an impact.
Yeah.
Who
I've
gives
seen
a
them
shit?
explode.
Well,
Yeah.
I've also seen them crack. I've never seen one explode, but I've shattered and they like split. And
I
then
did
they
use one the
I've
other
never
day.
like shrapneled one.
I used one the other day to take a wheel off the Crown Vic to get the tire replaced because my for whatever reason my impact socket skipped that size, so I use a chromie.
That's a tool. Was it a Chinesium piece of
No,
shit?
no, it was-
wasn't
it
off
was,
the Snap-on truck because
it
they would have
was,
gave you
uh,
every size.
It was an Icon, so it was a Hobo Freight.
Oh,
No, wait, they shouldn't have
the
skipped the
Icons.
size.
Skip the size.
No,
They went from 18 to 20
yeah,
millimeters.
Oh,
they
maybe.
do that. Yeah, and then it goes
They
like
should go 18,
22
19. Skip.
or
They usually
something like
skip
that.
20. Usually they skip 20.
Yeah,
19,
they
21.
skipped 19, so
That's
Yeah.
messed up. Yeah,
Yeah.
nah, 19's like every fucking lug nut in the world.
Yeah.
Almost. Lug stud, whatever. Yeah, tools. I'm a professional. I'm not even snobby though. I'm very like use whatever works for you because you know what? In my life, my world, I've had to make a lot of fucking tools. I've had to make
I've
the
seen you make some
goofiest
tools. I've seen you make
shit.
some fucking
And you're
goofy-ass
like, what
tools.
is this fork welded onto a birdhouse? You're like, dude, if I don't touch it because I need that for tomorrow.
Why are you cutting drill bits and welding them to crescent wrenches?
Yeah, sometimes I make tools. I don't give a shit, and I'm in the racing world. I live and die by Harbor Freight. Hobo Freight is like my store because I like them for the warranty. I like them because most
It's a
of every
really good
tool that I
warranty.
need. Yeah, the easiest part about a Hercules and a Bauer is that same day warranty, and it's not like the Milwaukee and the DeWalt. The also other benefit is if you lose the shit, you don't feel as bad. But I'm not knocking DeWalt and Milwaukee. I love them. I love using because I don't have any. But I'll use my buddies. I'll use any guy I work with, and I enjoy it. It feels lighter. It like sometimes they hit harder if you're using the impact. But you know what? I'm not gonna feel as bad losing my $100 Herca chunk of shit.
Herca-derca.
Yeah, compared to that $300 Milwaukee.
I could never justify the cost of like
I totally could.
the
They feel-
truck tools.
they-
Like
nice. Man.
no, I know, like
It's just nice.
But like I'm not using it every day, you know.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
application, you know. You're using it every day. That's your job. I'm a hobbyist, and so like I can't justify spending $300 on a wrench. You know?
Yeah, that's a hard one to
Or
like.
you know, all that money on tools, you know, because like that cuts out of my budget for fixing shit.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, I gotta save the money for that.
If I'm spending more money on the tool than I am on the parts, I can't justify fixing it.
Well, I mean, shit. In the back of my truck, it's a Harbor Freight just toolkit of just a
Oh,
ratchet.
oh yeah, a
It's-
quick and dirty of 150 piece, right? 150 piece set or
Quick and
some
dirty,
shit.
130. Sorry. I had to.
I mean, and it works good.
Excuse me, guys.
I mean, I've used it plenty of times on my own truck, and you know, hey, fuck, we can't
It
find.
gets you out of a pinch.
We can't find this to do this. Like, I have that in my truck. Hold on.
Yeah.
Even the most snob of snobs, honestly, the guy who does like
He'll
you know,
never
I
admit
work-
it, but he's got a Pittsburgh in his
Yeah, he's got
toolbox.
right. We all need that 10 millimeter kit from Harbor Freight. That 10
Yeah.
millimeter kit is awesome. You get like every socket, every short, deep, 3/8, quarter, half inch. So half inch 10 mil. That's hilarious. But there's guys out there that probably use one every day, like this tiny bolt, and he's like ugga duggin. I don't know. But some cheap tools, I think very worth it. I live and die by a cheap tool. I like my Chinese ones. I like those old, clunky, chromy pieces of shit ratchets that go clack, 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 clack. Not the like nice that buzz and roll in your hand. No, sometimes you gotta have just a thing that can be a hammer and a pry bar and a ratchet all in one. Some fucking clusterfuck of tool Chinese mix, I think I'm not gonna judge people.
I do think that like you can definitely tell the quality of a tool though by like how malleable the metal comes over like the first or second use. If like you start seeing chunks coming out of your socket, then I probably shouldn't have got this one.
Probably shouldn't
if there's no name on that socket at all, not even like made in China, maybe you probably shouldn't use it.
Where was it made? It wasn't even made anymore.
It wasn't even made. This was forged in plastic.
Yeah, I think get the tools that work. Build a tool, make a tool if you need to. Definitely don't hate on the guy who is carrying the hobo freight ratchet. You know what? That guy might save your ass one day. And we all started somewhere. I don't think a lot of us, I want to truly believe a lot of us didn't just go straight onto a Snap-on truck at age 16.
Yeah, no.
No way, right? Like,
No.
I'm lucky enough to have a bunch of Snap-on stuff now, but like...
I believe there's some, but also you're coming behind the guy whose dad owns the company you're working with.
Yeah, that's
his dad had like $1 billion sitting somewhere.
Well, good for them, Good.
Yeah,
they're lucky enough to.
And that's cool. I mean, as long as he knows how to use them, cool. Whatever.
Probably not.
Probably
I'm
not.
judgmental.
No, he's got like a $20,000 toolbox.
Just a box. Just a box. No tools in it.
My first toolkit was like a little SK set. It was like 12 sockets and a little 3/8 ratchet. And that thing was fucking awesome. Yep. I was fixing shit.
But boss's son, who's got that big toolbox.
The tool money he doesn't have.
I mean, it's nice to use that box when you can.
Yeah.
I use the boss's toolbox kind of deal, and I use a lot of boss's tool. I'm on the road, so they provide tools. Obviously,
I'm okay with using the boss's toolbox if the boss knows how to organize his tools.
Yeah.
Because my last job working for that farmer, he did not know how to organize tools.
Fuck that one up, huh?
He had like 6 toolboxes sitting around, and it was just shit fucking everywhere.
Yeah, that's
you had a table of sockets, and you didn't know which one was which. You're just like, nope.
Oh, no way.
Nah, that's the one I need.
I would have a conniption. I would lose my shit. I need to have it.
We would
organized.
fix it.
And then,
a week later,
he's
it's just fucking
like a
all.
cat, just knocking shit over.
on a oh god, what the fuck is that board called? Where you can put the hooks and shit in it.
Oh, the pegboard.
Pegboard, like
and would
to
hang up wrenches.
Yeah, hang
and then you
wrench
come
hanger.
back and there's just like
Random
a 3/8 and a 3/4 and a half.
Oh.
And I'm like, who the fuck is doing this?
Quit touching tools.
Or
Stop.
shit would just disappear. And you would have a whole set of shit.
Dude, that's the worst. Tools get lost. That's what I'm saying. I'm on the road a lot, and that's one of my biggest. I have lost tools on the road, and I'm like, every part of me was like, man, I'm glad I was only one Snap-on drill driver. Like I carry one specific one that I love from Snap-on, right? And then the rest of the stuff was Harbor Freight. So I was like, oh, well, maybe some Walmart and other Chinesium stuff in there, right? But like I was not as like heartbroken or shitty about the fact that I did lose that, and so that's just getting. People can be mean, people can be assholes. So, I learned really quick traveling and being on the road that like sometimes you got to get the tool that works for you in the setting and also price point. Like, what are you using this tool for, and should you pay that premium?
You ever had to get a tool on the job, like you didn't have it with you?
Yeah,
and you're
all
like,
the
shit,
time.
I have to
Especially
find a store within the next 15 minutes.
Yeah,
that I can
because
get
it's
this
9:30.
tool. Yeah,
yeah,
yep.
Yeah, it definitely has.
So like,
happened.
you can't be picky in those situations. You got to get what works when it works.
Yeah, so don't judge. Just build a collection. Build some tools, guys. Stay organized. It'll help you in the long run.
You don't have to all have the same brand tool either.
You don't have to. It is nice to have one. I did start my own personal, and everything in one box was like a personal Snap-on collection. But I already had a toolbox full of other shit. And we'll talk about my toolboxes and all that stuff later. And that's another funny story. But yeah, that's as far as I think I want to. Tools, we're probably going to talk about more goofy fucking tools later. It's always gonna have to be making a tool. I feel like it can't ever.
We should do that. We should be like, what's a tool that you had to make?
What's a tool that you had to make? Yeah, guys, you guys had to make a tool. Leave it down below or leave it in the comments, wherever it might be. So, yeah, if you guys got some funny tool stories, talk about it. I want to read it. I want to hear about it. Let's go.
Got a tool right here.
Get out of here. Yeah, so you guys just took a quick break. You probably see a bunch of weird, different.
A couple extra things.
We bought some more tools. I'm gonna.
Toast to your Zecca.
Yeah, man. Toast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Guys, don't forget the pin. Right, Caleb?
Yeah. Hold on, let me put it in there now. That way.
No, in case.
Just in case, because you never know.
We never.
Now you can sue.
Now you can sue.
Hold on, let me get that in there. There we go.
Oh, we didn't put the pin on the. Nah, it doesn't matter. All right, tools done. Whatever. Some guys are gonna be, picky. Other guys are. I say a lot of people shouldn't or won't, but also don't buy the most expensive thing if you're starting out. Definitely a bad mistake for some people to make. We'll put the mic on it next time, guys.
Yeah, we'll use that.
We'll make sure it's pinned. For those of you listening, we had a car jack stand from the Hobo Freight up on the table. So,
How much do I trust you?
yeah, how much do you trust the jack stand? We'll talk about that later.
That's a good name brand one. Do you go name brand for that, or do you go
For jack stands?
Yeah.
I do look at test ratings. I look at guys like Project Farm or review channels. Like those guys, Project Farm is literally the new Consumer Reports. I totally recommend his channel and all the stuff he puts out. It's so good, and it'll learn you real quick if those things are pieces of shit or not. So I found out, he rated those they're like mid level. Like they hold stuff, and they won't tip over too easy.
You don't.
So,
that's something you definitely don't want.
Yeah. Anyways, with tools. Let's go on to one of our last segments here. We do like this worth it or junk it segment. We're going to talk usually about something. Is it going to be worth it or should we junk it? Now, my thing is basically it's going to be car culture in general. It's like a fanboy thing. It's car meets worth it or junk it. I fucking hate car culture, guys. I hate modern car culture. And that's funny to say because I work on cool stuff. I work on race cars and anything in between from this combine to whatever, but like the attitude and the personas and the vaping, I just don't fucking like it. I fucking, we pop up our hoods and douchebag talk. We're just douchebag. Yeah, we're gonna open the hood on the Camaro, and I'm not judging Camaro guys or Mustang guys or anybody at all. But it's everybody. Yeah. Even we can do that. I've been to a car show and I've popped my hood and talked about
what do you got under the hood?
Yeah, like when I had the Stealth or whatever. You know,
got a 350 in it.
He's got a hammy. He's got a hammy. So my worth it or junk it segment today, I want to talk about the car culture. What do you guys think? I'm junk it. I kind of hate. You know what, though? If it wasn't like that, I don't know what I consider worth it. Maybe it's just the car meets and then the people that ruin it, the guys that do burnouts with in the middle of a green light intersection. I hate that.
I think that if it wasn't so toxic, it would be a lot more enticing and inviting and stuff like that. I think that I think that car culture nowadays is so toxic, man. It's so like, let me show you what I can do, and then you got these.
You think your car's better?
Yeah, man. It's like they're so toxic, and like people just beat up other people's builds.
My truck is higher.
It ain't good. It ain't good. It ain't a Hemi. It ain't my fucking big block. Fuck you, dude. I put my life and my blood and tears and sweat into this.
Yeah, and then the guy's gonna shit on you.
The guy just comes over like, meh, whatever. I've seen better. Okay, cool. You don't know anything about me.
I think we were all more appreciative to each other and not that side of.
If everyone respected everyone's build and everyone's grind,
not me, but cool, bro. Yeah.
Right, it's not for me, but you know what? That's amazing. I saw it was a '94 Ford Escort at a meet one time that was completely redone, and it was kind of. It's kind of ugly, but honestly, I respected the build because the guy put in so much time, and he had a little thing there where he was like, "This is what I did. This is why I did it," and I was like, you know what? I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that people are so toxic, there's people shit on other people's things, and it's like, why? Why do you got to do that? Why do you got to be like that? Like, grid life? Don't even get me started.
Grid life. Oh my goodness, guys. Do
you think it comes down to like a generational thing? Like certain age groups?
No,
or is it the whole?
I think it's everybody.
I think it's everybody. Because, like, if you consider, like, probably like our parents and stuff, 60s,
old
70s.
heads.
They old heads, yeah.
I've seen
but
old
like,
muscle guys shit on like people
Yeah,
with like JDM
right.
cars with like, oh, that's a
I just
fucking
can't
rice box.
I can't imagine the parents back then though, because they rode with like 50 Bel Airs and old
Yeah.
Cadillacs and big boats, and then these kids got muscle cars in the late 70s, early 80s or whatever, and they were probably like like I can imagine car culture throughout the world was this like
It's ever changing. It's always shifting.
It's always shifting. I just think right now it's like toxic, or there's a lot going on, and you can find your niche group and have fun with it. But I think the second somebody wants to like shit on you for it, I think it's toxic. I'm not a fan of it.
I'm guilty
I think
of shitting on
racing
other
games can
people's
be
builds, though.
toxic, you know, like
I think we're all a little guilty of shitting on other people's builds. Oh,
Yeah.
that's dumb.
that's
Whatever.
dumb. Why would you do that?
But you don't, you do that in private where like you're
Yeah,
alone
I
or
would
whatever.
not.
You can't like if you're out in public and you're going to a show, like you just got to respect the grind.
on
man.
the internet,
Yeah.
people would say, "Oh,
And that, and it's something that just brought that up. It also like, and then you get the guys that boil down to like American cars. So, you guys can't see it right now, but we have all three of the big three sitting behind
Yeah.
the cameras.
Yeah, we got a
Ford,
Chevy,
Chevy,
yeah.
and Dodge sitting behind, and everybody is going to be, oh, Ford's better, oh, Chevy's better.
Yeah.
Dodge. I mean, preferably me. I'm a Mopar guy. I like Mopar. I like Dodge.
I've also worked at the
But I've
dealership.
had Ford,
Yep.
Chevy, Dodge. I mean, I've had all
Love my
three of them.
Subaru,
I
right?
think they're
Love my
all
Subaru.
shit.
Yeah,
I think
they're all
everything
built
is shit.
They're
Thank
all
you.
garbage.
They're all
Everything
I don't
is
like any
fucking
of them.
junk.
as quick as possible for the lowest spot.
Yeah.
I think that what it comes down to is like, do you take care of your stuff? Yeah, there's inherently bad designs like a fucking Yugo or some shit.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. If you take care of your shit nowadays, there's no reason why it shouldn't last you at least 100,000 miles.
Yeah, it just
At
take care of
least,
your
yeah.
Yeah,
Because back in what the 70s and 80s, like cars,
you had to maintain them. You had to check
maintain
your
them.
points and
Yeah.
condenser. You had to make sure it was
Now you got
fuel
sensors
filter
that
was
tell you
replaced.
everything.
Everything, and that's part of car culture. It's just become a throwaway culture of fuck it, I'll ball it up and get a new one later. And there's good parts of it, but I'm junk it. What are you guys?
I think that for my worth it or junket, I think I'm gonna, I saw a thing on Reddit the other day about a Mustang, like a newer Mustang. This kid got sideswiped and it like really.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about this
It
kid.
really crumpled the rear quarter panel, and the guy's like, "Oh my God, is this gonna be totaled out? I don't want to total this car. We just bought it. We just put like a bunch of money down on this car." And an insurance adjuster actually commented, I was like, "Yeah, we just had one of these last week, and we totaled it out because it's a unibody. So any damage, you have to replace the whole body. You have to replace the whole car."
Yeah, that's a shame.
It's just it's like a cool idea. They're super safe, like they're meant to crumple like that in those certain spots. But once you hit that crumple zone, it's it's toast. And
Yeah.
it's like the Dodge Darts. My Dodge Darts, they got this thing when you front end impact, they drop the motor. And once that motor's dropped and those mounts,
it's like a cradle. It's an engine cradle and
it's
stuff.
supposed to stop the car and whatever.
yeah.
And it's complete total.
The problem is those cradles will bend and break,
Yeah.
but then the frame is to self-twisted, and you can't just bolt up
Right.
a new cradle. So like, no guy is gonna spend all that time on a Dodge Dart.
not
chat.
worth it,
Yeah,
no.
and that's a shame that it is. No, it's not. It's kind of cool because it's safe.
They're safe, and like most modern cars and like coupes and sedans are all unibodies now, and like hypercars and supercars have I'm pretty sure always been unibodies, the monocoque.
The monocoque, yeah.
But like
I'm on a tube chassis, baby.
I think that it's worth it mostly, but like in that certain situation that I saw, like that sucks. So I'm junk it.
Well, that's like the newer Ford trucks. What was it
Aluminum,
called?
the aluminum.
The aluminum.
Well, didn't they move away from that, or they stayed doing it?
I think
still-
some are or some
Because
aren't. I feel like
know
they're
the 2015s
big
were
trucks
aluminum,
aren't.
and there was a
Wouldn't know.
huge problem with the frames because
They just
once
crumple.
They crumple. and
You
can't
touch
fix
them with anything, and it just
just
And that's like it was a good idea to try and make a lighter weight truck, but it just wasn't.
the problem is that you lose towing capacity and you lose like
It's
durability.
rigidity. It's rigidity.
Yeah,
It's
the Honda Ridgeline is one that's a
But
unibody.
that's barely a truck.
Well, it's-
That's like a big SUV with
it's a
a big
Ryobi
ass
of the trucks,
That's
you know?
I know. I got it at Home Depot.
People
get
buy them because they want a comfortable, smooth ride, and they want a pickup.
I think they're front wheel drive, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
like,
So,
I
I
can't
mean,
shit on
like the Ford Maverick.
like, I'll drive a Toyota, like
Yeah.
a Tundra, a
Yeah.
Tacoma.
And
Those
they're
things
uni-
are
Tundras
awesome.
are body on
Yeah.
frame though.
They're so,
So-
nice.
yeah, that's
they're
a-
nice.
yeah.
Tundra and Tacomas are still body
I think
on
they're
frame.
still body on frame. So, but unibody itself, like, Well, I don't know if they are built different because I feel like old trucks used to be paneled together. Nah, maybe not. I wouldn't know. You know, I'm not like a body guy, but I feel like the Tacoma, even the modern day truck. Well, he said it, but like they're probably gonna make them unibody.
Yeah.
You know, like
Eventually.
yeah, we're gonna get away from frame on. You know, completely probably.
And they're trying. I mean, as it goes
To them
along
accountants,
now,
man.
I'm accountant. I hate the accountants.
Well, and as they're moving along now, they're gonna try and fizzle out the pickup truck as much
Yeah.
as they can.
Yeah, everything's like a big SUV. No trucks, nowhere. They don't use them in Europe, but they love them. They love trucks.
I feel like pickup trucks aren't going anywhere.
I don't think.
I don't
they
think in
should.
America. I don't think they should either. I love
No,
a pick.
I
I think
think-
you know what? Downsize the fuck out of them.
I think the Utes
hood
are coming back.
Utes would be.
I think Utes
bring
are
a
coming
Ute,
back.
Yeah.
I could
Trucks are too
understand the
tall.
hood. So like on
Mullet
the brand
cars.
new 3500.
Mullet car,
So going to the Chevy, the 3500 Chevys. That hood is you can't
It's
see the ground.
so
you
big.
cannot. The nose sticks up like this far above.
And we keep wondering why fuel regulations are getting tighter because these things are getting
can't
bigger with bigger end. It doesn't make
You can't
any
see
sense.
a goddamn thing out of that hood and out the window.
These trucks are too big. I drive a 2500 HD. It's monstrous. I don't know. You know, it's nice to tow stuff. I'll tow. You know, I'll pull a toy hauler, some that can hold 2 cars in it, a bunch of whatever stuff. It's great, but like, I don't know why it's got to be so damn big. You know,
like
I
even
don't.
like the back end right now, you can see it. It's like it's almost 3 feet off
What?
the ground to the
A
bumper.
cool design would probably be like a 2500 HD design, but like with a 1500 layout. You know, it's like smaller but it's got more power. It's probably a little thicker, and it could still tow all that.
I mean, I
but like
guess-
it's just smaller.
I guess it makes sense, like it depending on what you're doing. So like construction work or farming, like I guess I understand why yours would be so big.
Yeah.
because you got to clear,
I guess
wherever you're going,
Wherever.
because you're going to be off roading with it at points.
Sometimes, yeah. I do use my truck by off road more than a lot of people do, and I'm still like, oh, what the what the hell am I doing? When I'm going down the highway and I'm doing 70, 80, I'm like, dude, it doesn't need to be this bad. Looking at my fuel economy gauge, yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's got the big heavy, but I baby my stuff pretty much. I drive like an old lady, so right on, man. Unibodies, I think they're cool. I think it's what's gonna keep going.
Situational.
Yeah.
I think that's. I mean, honestly,
When it gets
they're gonna figure it
bent
out.
and broken though,
Yeah,
and you can't fix
it's
it.
so expensive to fix.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like it's cheaper to make, but it's more expensive to fix.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, right.
That boils back to our original question: is it junk it or is it worth
Yeah.
it? Like, it's almost you got to junk it almost. Like I feel like
Worth it. We gotta.
I think
we
it's
want to
worth
make an
it.
omelet. You gotta crack a few
think-
eggs.
I think it's
Junk
worth
some
it.
stuff.
junk
Junk
some of it. I don't.
yeah.
I think it's situational. Like
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean,
it's kind of middle of the
like that
line.
Mustang,
In certain
that
sit-
would have been
Yeah, that would piss
That's
me off.
terrible.
If I just bought a car and got sideswiped, and for some reason a crash panel or some crumple zone is forever damaged, and they're like, "Sorry, no airbags went off, but sorry."
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Are you?" I just like
Well, hopefully their insurance covers it. For every
Yeah,
car. You
right,
hope,
right. You'd hope you get insurance on a brand new car. So yeah, man, it's your call. You guys didn't even say if worth it or junk it for you guys on the car culture. What do you guys think of the car culture?
I think it's trash.
Yeah,
I think it's trash. Like I said, I'd junk it. You know?
Junk it? Yeah, I'm junking.
If everything in like the ideal could change and it wasn't so toxic, it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
But as it stands now, I would junk it.
Junk it.
To clarify, it doesn't mean I won't participate.
Yeah,
Right,
right,
yeah.
yeah. I'm like,
right.
I hate it though.
somebody will see us at like a car and be like,
Right.
"Hey, what are
This
you guys
fucking
doing?"
guy.
Cool, it's cool.
You
but
said
Right.
you hate us.
I live and die at the racetrack, so right. I'm there,
Always
kind of in the.
participating in it.
Yeah, I'm always part of it. Junk
Doesn't
it,
mean you
but
like it.
I'm living in it, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of this. We hate this shit, but we're still doing it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
So,
every day.
all right, unibodies. What did you say?
I
Junk
said
it?
I said it's situational.
Situational?
But in that situation, junk it.
In that, in the
that
in the
situation,
Mustang
junk it.
situation, junk it. That sucks. Put plastic. Just give me plastic
Yeah,
body
something.
panels, please. Plastic body panels, and we'll vinyl over it. Yeah, junk it, and that's. I like unibodies. I think it's a good design. I think engineers are going the right way with it. It's safer. They fill the bodies with foam and stuff too. Now they're like super safe. It's crazy that we can walk away. People walk away from a 100-mile-an-hour crash. Like that didn't exist back in the day. So situational, but worth it.
Yeah, I would say worth it. Yeah.
All right, man.
What about you, Caleb?
Yeah. What about you, Caleb?
Oh boy.
What do you?
That would
You
boil-
had a small repair.
small repairs for household. This is more household than
Store repair, right?
Yeah,
We're still
store
fixing
repair.
shit.
so repair on toiletry.
Plumbing.
Plumbing. Yeah, plumbing. We had a fill valve just It was on the fritz. It wasn't filling right. It would take forever for it to actually refill the tank to actually flush the toilet. And then eventually it just gave out and it was just constantly filling. So it's like, all right, well now you got to break down the toilet. You got to flush. You got to turn the and you got to fix that valve too. Now.
Yeah, I was like, go ahead and tell that whole bit, man.
Oh man, I went to turn the water off, the valve at the bottom of the toilet to turn the water off, and as soon as I turned it, it exploded in my hands.
Yeah, so the valve.
Is that what that little knob was?
Yeah, it exploded. You seen it? It like cracked in half.
Yeah, I did.
I was like, shit.
And so, for our listeners and viewers, we do roommate. Caleb's my roommate. I'm his roommate, and so yeah, he was basically fixing the toilet because like you saying the fill valve took a shit, and then he went to shut off the water shut off.
And it just the knob exploded in my hand.
I saw that and I was like, I wonder what happened.
And I'm just son of a bitch. And the toilet keeps filling. I'm like, damn it. So I had to go find a fucking wrench somewhere or pliers and just kind of manhandle that thing off because now all you got is like 1/8 of an inch of metal to turn.
What brand was that tool?
Yeah,
It wasn't branded. It was
was
not
probably
branded.
Chinese
no.
yellow
It was not
handle.
branded. It was the first thing I could find and it worked. It was in my old tool pouch.
That's funny. Yeah,
And I was like,
Chinese
screw it.
yellow
So
handle.
I turned that off. You know, you got to dump all the water, get the water out.
Yeah.
And at that point, there's no easy way of doing that.
Yeah,
It's just,
man.
you just take a towel and get the residual water out of the tank. And
Yeah.
Plumbing's not fun, and stuff can get rusty. We live in a primarily an area that's got hard water. Our pipes, we like to joke about it here that like if you got a leak here, just look away for 3 days and it's gonna seal itself up. That's how hard the water is. It's just got a crack in it. Don't worry, it'll plug itself. It'll stop leaking. Just don't look at it.
And it didn't help. It doesn't help for our situation to where, you know, one of the past owners decided, you know what, I got to leave and I'm just going to concrete the pipes.
Yeah.
What?
They just dumped concrete down the pipes
People
and
can be
just
real
started
shitty.
all the water up and just left.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of our pipes are junk. And, you know,
Yeah,
they're
I've
all
replaced a
new.
lot. Yeah, we've replaced a lot. But even in the bathroom, I think we ended up replacing the toilet in that bathroom. But I know I didn't do the feed line or like that, you know, the whatever, like the fill line or whatever.
And it sucks.
So now we figured out that like, oh shit,
it sucks
It's
too
a
now, 'cause-
cascading problem of just like I'm gonna do this. Nope, now I gotta do this.
It sucks now because now we're going to have to shut the whole water system off.
Good thing I put in a new shut off valve. But
I don't even know where it is.
But at least it's right in the fill line. Anyways, at least it's there.
It's downstairs?
It's downstairs.
Okay.
So,
I mean, but yeah, now we got to take that apart, put a new fucking
this
valve
just
on.
comes down to. But I guess I would call this a simple home repair, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is like your shitter shitting out on you. Simple. Is it
It
fun?
definitely was easy.
It can be simple.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the main toilet?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, I
that's
shit
the
in
main
that
valve.
toilet the other day.
Nice.
It was good.
It came
It flushed real nice, dude. You did a good job.
after the first podcast.
Yeah.
That valve was, I believe, it is faulty already because it was coming out the back of the valve too.
Oh, I don't know, man.
probably
It flushed
pissing.
pretty good for me.
It works great, and I mean, you know, it
was like-
it was cheap.
It was
like
yeah,
it was
less
a
than
lot
20 bucks.
harder flush
that's the
than
best part.
I remember because that thing used to go like slow flush, and now it's
Maybe.
like big shit flush.
The point is, it's taking it, and I'm so happy.
I'm glad. Yeah. Chewy, thankfully, had got us that toilet, and I'm thank God because
Yeah.
the last toilet was
Yeah.
like 3 inches off the ground. It was like you're shitting in a hole.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta have a proper toilet, guys. You can't be shitting in nowhere. No random ass toilets. So,
But
and also fix them.
random
I think.
ass
Well,
toilets.
for that, you didn't even say worth it or junk it.
Yeah, that was worth it. Yeah, I mean,
Worth it, right?
Because
Home repair, like so
Home repair is always worth it in the end.
kinda.
I mean, it,
Ah,
it depends.
I
You want to
mean,
do a roof by yourself?
no, I
Yeah.
didn't say it by myself, motherfucker.
I'm calling you.
Yeah, I'm calling your asses. I'm calling both you guys.
No.
Fuck, I'm calling all
Yeah,
you guys.
right.
Hey,
I mean, but I guess what it boils down to. I mean, like, because you know, how big is the job? That really is going to depend on like, is it worth it or junk it? You know, this fill valve, it's one nut and a hose that you take off and you just put it right back in, and that's worth it. That's easy to do. That's something anybody can do.
It was pretty cheap, right?
Yeah, it's less than $40 to fix.
Yeah. And some
that's-
time.
Yeah, it took me like what 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
No. So and that's worth it. But now come down to like our air conditioner.
Oh gosh.
That is a total
I-
junket
that-
situation.
That's a junket, right? If you have like a central air system and maybe it didn't run for years or the line's been cracked and broken, that's in our situation. I had a central air system and then I goofed big. I total donkey moment, and I ruptured a line, and basically it's been open to the atmosphere for years. So I wouldn't know or understand to repair that. I've worked with HVAC systems and stuff, but for us to install a whole new central air,
It's gonna
that's a
of
lot.
money.
So that I'm like I would be like junk it. Like I'm not gonna I'll put a window unit in until I can, some guys like they're fine with window units and they don't need central air. We live Midwest. It's kind of out, it's not like in a busy showy neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I'm not too worried about it.
I mean, would it be nice to have central air?
Yeah,
everybody would like
right.
to have
Everybody
it, but
would.
It's cheaper in the end,
But $8,000 to $12,000 for
not
some
cheap
people,
to do
yeah,
it.
right.
It's not cheap to get to that place.
When they come over and they tell you we can't fix what you broke, we have to
Yeah.
replace everything. That's like hearing you got a blown motor in a car.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what the fuck? Like you instantly, worse things could happen, or the worst thing has
yeah,
happened.
definitely.
So,
Yeah, that's yeah.
I fixed the toilet once. I fixed the fill valve on a friend of mine's toilet.
while they were shitting?
Yeah, they were shitting, and it was constantly filling, like you were saying. It was
Yeah.
always filling. It would never shut off unless you lifted the lid and like janked the thing. And I was like, that's like
even
se-
then.
Even ours,
you
yeah,
couldn't
ours
do
did
it.
not,
yeah.
It was completely gone.
It was jammed up.
No, I replaced the one, and that was pretty good. It's
Not bad.
perfect now.
Yeah, for home repair, as long as it's simple, worth it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Putting a light bulb in, hopefully nobody needs to call anybody, but there's maybe somebody out there who does. They don't
I did
get out there and experiment. That might be intimidating to replace a toilet valve or whatever you call it, like a fill valve, but
Yeah.
try it. It's already leaking or whatever. If you know where your shutoff valve is for your water, just go out there. Like, it's already broken.
I vote worth it.
Worth
It is worth it,
worth
absolutely.
it. Agree. Right on, man. Right on, guys, both of y'all. So,
Men.
we do men things sometimes, but
There you go with the gender roles again.
oh, here we go. What are you saying? I can't work on that. You got the wrong tool. That's what it
It's
is.
because you're
Should've
using.
wore that shirt. Damn.
Oh, next time, get him next time.
Yeah, I mean, if I see you roll up with a bag of Ryobi tools, I'll instantly lose respect for you.
Hey, the guy's got to get it.
You know
get his
what?
lawn cut
Don't
somehow
make-
with his electric lawnmower.
Don't do that.
It's
Just don't do it.
It's so easy to joke on these people.
Yeah, whatever.
What do I care? I use
Preference.
Hercules and Bauer and Icon.
I use whatever.
I use Mako Mac.
I use whatever I can afford.
Right, I use
whatever I can afford.
Yeah.
Milwaukee. I got Milwaukee, Craftsman, DeWalt. I've got all of it. SK.
Yeah.
I've literally probably have everything except for like Matco or Snap-on.
Right. You got to have a little bit of everything.
Got a little bit of
Been on a
everything.
snap coach or snap.
Snapco. Matco Snap-on
Yeah,
combo.
I've
They had
been
a
on
baby.
I've been on a Snap-on truck once, and the entire time I was in there, I was like, I don't want to touch any of this, because as soon as I touch it, he's like, you own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a
touch it, you
flashlight, and that was it. And it was like a $30 flashlight, and I was like, that's
Damn.
all I want.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
it was a pen light. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
If you are a new guy, at least get on the truck. Go look at it. It's just cool to look at. At least get a flyer, right?
That guy is too nice.
I remember my stepdad.
well, they want to be, right?
My
They wanna-
stepdad, when I was a kid, he the Snap-on truck used to come to our house because he was a mechanic or whatever.
They could go to the house. That's
Yeah,
nice.
he
That's
came to the
door
house
service.
and he hopped on the truck and I was like, "Whoa, that's a really cool wrench." He's like, "Yeah, that's a $200 wrench." And I'm like, "Why is it $200?" He goes, "Because it does this and it like bends and like goes all different
Sometimes you
ways."
need it, right?
And he's like, "I need this very specific tool for this very specific job." I was like, "Can you return it after?"
Yeah,
He
no
said
kidding,
no.
it's too- you
I'm
gotta
like,
keep
"Damn, that
I
sucks."
need it for one job once that I
Yeah,
use.
I'll never use it again.
I would not recommend buying the fancy tool when it's a one job. But if you're for sure like a Pitman arm puller that you're hammering on, like if you're doing like truck shit all day or something, yeah, get the quality brand name stuff and don't be so judgmental on people that use whatever. They'll end up
It's
saving your
interesting.
ass once in
we
a
all
while.
come from humble beginnings.
Yeah,
you
I'd
know,
like to
everyone
I like to
does.
think so.
You like to believe it, you know.
Yeah.
You all started somewhere,
Right.
You got to remember that everyone starts somewhere, and
Yeah.
maybe that person's in a different spot in their journey than you.
Yeah, and this goes
help 'em
perfectly
if you
into this goes perfectly into recapping like in the beginning. And you guys aren't even in the beginning. You guys can handle your own shit, but like it's intimidating, right? It's hard to be like I can do this because you think it's gonna go way worse. But
I watch like every YouTube video I can find about one thing
read
from
things
way
and
different perspective, like many different perspectives. Like we were talking last time about radiator flushes and stuff like that. Like I watched at least 8 different perspectives before we did it, and then we did it, and then it got done, and it was and it's been perfect ever since. You
right.
know?
And no issues, no compli Yeah.
No issues.
Guys, if you're guys and gals, whatever, whoever, hey everybody, if whoever is out there, you know, go out there and experience something that you guys haven't done. And sure, be shy, be mindful of what you're doing and touching, but attempt it. Go out there and do it because
man, just
I
do
think
it.
you'll feel the reward.
For
Like you'll
sure.
feel rewarded, right? Like you're gonna feel prideful. You're gonna have a lot of like.
And you learn on the way. Because it's not always going to be cut and dry like what you're watching on YouTube,
Yeah.
Everybody's experience is different. What's easy for that person, maybe that brake rotor does not come off for you, and you got to figure out how to get that shit off.
Yeah.
Some people just make it look super, just
Yeah.
right easy.
Yeah.
But it's important to learn that before you do it, and then
Because you might be sitting there for 10 minutes beating this thing.
or
to
3
death.
hours, or 3
To
hours.
death to get
10
it
minutes
off.
into 3 hours, it happens.
It just depends.
How long did that take you? 15 minutes. In reality,
Yeah.
it was 3 hours.
It's 6 hours later.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So
You never know.
yeah, guys. That about concludes this episode 2 of Technically Broken.
Technically
broken.
broken.
Technically broken.
Finally got a name.
Yeah, we finally got a name. Thank you all if y'all stuck around to the end. We really appreciate you. Please leave comments, anything, questions,
Suggestions.
stories. Yeah, it'll be in the YouTube down
Feedback
there,
is fantastic.
wherever podcasts are. Hopefully sooner than later, and we will have TikToks probably coming out of segments soon. So
That'd be cool.
if you guys, throw out your tags, throw out whatever, and then we'll just sign off real quick.
Just, like I said at the beginning in the last episode, anything you can find me on, any social media platform, it's just Caleb_the_Hunted_.
Cool.
That's where you find me.
And I'm Botar, B0TAR, or at Botar Designs, both on Instagram. I do not have X, formerly known as Twitter.
Okay. Right. That's a goofy one. We'll talk about that, maybe. They definitely messed that repair up with the X to Twitter.
Terrible.
Yeah, why would you? Anyways, guys, I'm Hobbyist Cookie, Mario, and I will have my links down there for YouTube and TikTok and whatever else I might be on. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next episode. We got a special guest coming up, hopefully, and you guys should enjoy that one. So with that, you guys good?
See
Next
ya.
time, guys.
I have to edit that one now.
That goes on the Patreon.